Welcome to the Stepmom Side with Alicia Crasco, the podcast for stepmoms ready to create the life they want and one they actually have a say in. Here we talk all things stepmom life and just a little bit more. Leave the superficial conversations at the door and get ready for perspective shifts and actionable advice to help you on your way to creating the life you want, one step at a time. Hey, welcome to this week's podcast episode. It's an episode that I've been thinking about for a while, and I feel like I should just record it. I don't have any notes, so if it seems like I'm rambling, there's a good chance that I am rambling, so just stay with me on these tangents. But in your early years as a stepmom, and maybe you're several years in and you're still struggling with this, I just want to say navigating the holiday season as a stepmom is really freaking hard. But I feel like in your early years, it's exceptionally hard because you're dealing with all of the different things. And then if you're like me and you moved into their house, hello, all of the emotions, and hello, all of the frustration and resentment and all of the emotions that are built up, and trying to navigate what that looks like and how to deal with those things without losing your cool or ruining the holiday spirit because you're struggling. And unless you're a stepmom, like, you don't get it. And so if you're sitting here like, Alicia, I've tried talking to my partner about this and they don't get it. They're just like, it's not that big of a deal. Well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal to them because they've got these traditions and the way that they've done things or the foods that they make or, again, the traditions. And that's just what they've done. So it's normal to them. So now you're coming in and you're the bad guy by saying, these things make me uncomfortable, or I don't like these things, or, hey, you know what? I had traditions growing up and I would like to carry on some of those things, or I would like to incorporate some of those things and maybe feel like I'm part of the team or, God forbid, part of the family. And having that shut down is like, well, do I even matter? Like, what? This is bullshit. Like, what about me? Like, what about my feelings? What about how I'm experiencing this? And it's interesting. I laugh because it's not like, oh, this is really funny. It's just like everyone is so concerned about how the kids handle things. Understandably so. But when's the last time that somebody checked in with you and said, hey, how are you? How are you navigating this? How does the holiday season feel for you? Like, how are you doing? Talk to me about that. Like, I want an honest conversation rather than just being like, oh my gosh, like, happy holidays, like, everything is great, Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, like, whatever, however you celebrate. But I feel like so many times it's glossed over, like, whatever the stepmom is feeling, and you're just expected to, like, shut up and color and make everything magical for the kids, right? Like, let the kids be little. Let's start there for sure. But then also, who's checking in on you? Who's making sure that you're okay? Are you like, at the basic level, are you doing it? Like, are you checking in with yourself? But honestly, when's the last time you've checked in with yourself? This is not coming from a place of shame or judgment. It's just coming from a place of, I've been there, and you just feel like I have to go through the motions to get through the holiday season, and then I will, like, try to figure things out. Listen, my friend, if you are looking for tips to get through this holiday season, head to aliciacrasco.com/holiday, aliciacrasco.com/holiday, to get my free resource for tips to get through the holiday season. It's easier than you think. But why am I telling you about it now in November? Because I want you to have it now in November so you can read it over, digest it, kind of get a game plan for how you're going to get through the holiday season. Here's a good time for me to tell you about the Stepmom Side community. Also, another great resource for you to get through the holiday season. You're going to be able to connect with myself, other stepmoms. You're going to get a lot of FaceTime with me. I host office hours every Wednesday. You can pop in, ask me any questions. Ask me about how to navigate certain situations or how to bring up different ways that you're feeling without your partner possibly feeling attacked. If you're interested in the Stepmom Side community, head to aliciacrasco.com/community. And here's where it gets sticky. I want to walk you through a few nuances of being a new stepmom, specifically from my perspective. Like, this is what I dealt with. So if you've been here for a while, you know my story. You know that I was 26 when my husband and I met. And then I moved into their house. We did like a long distance relationship for quite a while. And then I moved into their house, and not even including the holidays, to a degree, I felt like I lived in a shrine to his previous relationship, to his previous marriage, because it was their house, right? And anytime that I tried to make changes or redecorate, or I wanted to paint things, or I wanted to get new furniture, or whatever the case may be, it was like, oh, well, this is like the kids' house, and like they live here, and all of the things. And I was just like, I also live here. Newsflash, like I live here, like my input matters as well, or I think, or I hope, and if it doesn't, like maybe we should have a conversation about that. But then slowly, like I just started to change things, and bigger things, like we had a conversation about after I had a massive blow up and threw a pretty epic tantrum, to be honest with you. Like I was just beyond frustrated about it. But then what I wasn't expecting was the holiday season, and I did not see what was coming. I didn't even think, I don't even know why I didn't even think about what like the holiday season would be like, or how that would go down. I love Christmas, like it's a whole season for me. Like I love that, and I love decorating, and I love the gift giving. Like I love that. And I like the excitement and like the magic of it. I used to work at Disney World, and so I love the magic of it. And I think it's really fun. But I did not see the frustration. I did not see the weirdness. I did not see the where do I fit in? This is really awkward. All of this coming. Like I don't know how I didn't see that. And so if you are a new stepmom and you're listening to this, please learn from my mistakes. So what I didn't see coming, where to start? There's a lot of things. Obviously I knew that I lived in their house. I had been doing that for a while at that point. Actually, no, that's not true. I moved in like the middle of December, and then like had my very first Christmas with them like right away. And everything was already decorated. So it was fine. Like I didn't really have a decision in that decorating. Like I was just like, oh, wow, like this is great. Like it's already done. Let's fast forward to the following year. And now I'm part of the decorating team. And this is where it was really awkward for me. So I'm living in their house. I'm living in the shrine to the previous marriage, because I keep telling myself that, right? Like I'm living in a shrine to his previous marriage. I'm living in a shrine to his previous marriage. I'm living in a shrine to his previous marriage. So that's all I see. Like that's all I'm thinking about. That's all I'm seeing. And it's all about the stories that we make up for ourselves, right? So Christmas decorating. The tradition at the time was go and get a Christmas tree from like a very specific place. And that's what had been happening for years. And every year at another place, or potentially that place, the kids get to pick out a decoration that they like, a Christmas ornament that they like. The tree is decorated in a certain way. There are certain elements to the tree. Now, here's like the tricky part. I'm just going to do like a side note here. Here's the tricky part. There are certain things that I liked, like for one instance, like in magazines or in somebody else's house, or, things that I would see like on TV with a big red ribbon like wrapped around the tree. I'm like, oh, that's really, really pretty. Until I find out that that's the tradition here. I don't like that anymore. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? It's not that I didn't like the ribbon. I didn't like that what it represented. I didn't like what I felt like was it was just one woman slotted in to replace another woman, and now I'm living someone else's life, and I could not get past that. I'm like sweating just telling you about that. But the frustration and the like, I felt like less than. I felt like I was just like a widget that was like taken from over here and put in over there, and I was just like, I don't like this. All of a sudden, everything that I liked about Christmas, I hated about Christmas. Like I did not feel magical. I did not feel excited about it. I felt dreadful. I felt resentful. I felt really pissed off. I felt duped by myself. Like, I can't believe that all of these emotions came back. I can't believe that I waited this long to get married to like have this be my situation. I can't believe that this is where I'm finding myself. And then I started with the self-sabotaging, like, Alicia, you're smarter than this. You've waited longer to get married. You're educated, like all of these things. And this is what happened. And now, like, I can look back now and laugh and be like, I was so unbelievably hard on myself about everything. But then now we're at like my favorite time of the year. And now I'm like ramping it up, like exponentially harder on myself. For what? Like that, I wasn't helping myself. I wasn't helping the situation. So then there's like the ribbon around the tree, and I'm like, immediately, like blood is boiling, and I'm mad, but I can't say anything, right? Because I'm like at war with myself because I like how that looks. I think it's really pretty. We don't do it, just so you know, we don't do it. Or we haven't done it. I think that was the last year that we did it because I think it all came out very ugly after Christmas. But I liked it, but I also didn't like it because I didn't like what it represented, right? Like it's never about you, it's what you represent. And in this situation, it was never about the ribbon, it was about what the ribbon represented. But then, so there's the ribbon, and then there's these ornaments that my husband and his ex-wife had picked out from a different country, not even a different store, but like a different country, and they had brought them back. And all of these things. So again, like, oh, we have to have these ornaments. I didn't even like the ornaments. They were not my style. They were not my thing. And I just said to my husband yesterday we were talking yesterday, and I was like, you know what, honestly, because we still have them. And I'll get into that in a bit. Honestly, if we were to bring those out now, like I would be okay. Like enough time has passed. I can't even believe I'm saying this to you, but enough time has passed that I'm not so like wrapped around the axle about it. Like we could get them and put them on the tree. Like, it might be a little bit weird this first year, but I'm not like so pissed off about it. Like I'm not in my head about it anymore. There were like different Christmas decorations that he wanted to put out. Now I can say that they were cool, but at the time I was like, I hate these. I don't like them. They're not my style. I think they're dumb. And I may or may not have said them like that. But maybe a little bit more aggressively. I did not do all of the right things in my early years as a stepmom. I was very aggressive. I was very, I didn't have a lot of tact, like let's say that. And if you've been here, you know I've talked about this before. My husband has always said, like, I need to work on my delivery. And I was like, why? Everyone knows where they stand. And he's like, yeah, and that's not always a good thing. And I'm like, it sounds like a you problem. Or that sounds like that's their problem, not mine, right? But yeah, I did not do a very good job of communicating what I needed or what I wanted because I was so caught off guard by how I was feeling. So that year, I'm pretty sure that year we did do the ribbon because what am I going to do? Like we're in the middle of decorating with my stepkids. I'm going to be like, I hate the ribbon. I think it looks dumb. No, of course I'm not going to do that. So it's just one more thing that I'm stuffing down. Like I'm stuffing down that we went through the tradition of like going to this place and getting this tree. We went through the tradition of going to this place and getting this tree. And also while we're there, like going through and like picking out an ornament that the kids like. And then now we're back and now we're decorating with all of your guys' stuff and none of it was mine. So I felt, again, like an outsider. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like second best or not even on the list of like where Alicia mattered, right? So it was in my head about a lot of things. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we did do the ribbon. I feel like I've blocked some of these things out because it was so traumatic for me. And sometimes I feel like I'm being dramatic saying that like, oh, it was so traumatic for me. Decorating for Christmas is so traumatic for you. Yeah, unless you're a stepmom, like you don't get it. Like, and if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. Or, oh my gosh, I've been through this. I totally get it. Thank you. Please send me a message and let me know that I'm not alone or I'm not a crazy person and you get it and like you understand and you see what I'm talking about. And so we have this massive tree that we've got this massive tree that we've decorated, and in the ornament box are ornaments that are specifically for the kids' mom. And I am like at this point ready to throw every ornament away and just put lights on the tree and like not have anything else. I don't care. Or you know what? I'm willing to go anywhere. I would go to the Dollar Tree at this point and just get Christmas ornaments to put on there and trash all of the other ones and destroy them. But that's not an option, right? And what am I going to do? Again, oh, this ornament is your mom's. Like, clearly it shouldn't be here. And like be snarky about it or be petty about it. That's what I want to do. This is not going to help, right? And I'm sure that my body language said everything. I'm sure that my facial expression said everything. I don't hide things very well. Like, I'm not a really good faker. If I don't like something, there's a good chance that you're going to know. Now I can tell you, like, in a nice way that I don't like something. But at that point, no. And what I do remember is my eyes stinging. Why? Because I was on the verge of tears. And I felt like there was really no reason for me to cry from the outside looking in. And they'd be like, well, why do you care that these ornaments are ours? You know, I felt like the kids would have taken it like as a personal attack, but it was just a reminder for me that like I didn't have a family. Like, this is my first year. And that year, like, we weren't even married. So I'm not married. Like, I'm starting over my words here. Like, I'm not married. I don't have my own kid. I'm like playing pretend mom or like pretend, I don't even know what at this point. And now I'm hit with emotions out of left field and I don't know what to do with them because I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting all of these weird things to happen that no one else can see. I wasn't expecting all of these weird emotions to show up, you know, whether they're from my own childhood or whether they're from like my preconceived notions of what I thought that my favorite holiday season period is going to be like. And it's not like that at all. Like, there's all of this craziness. So we decorate and everything is fine, but I'm pretty quiet. And typically if I'm quiet, it's not a good thing. Like in a situation like that, like sometimes I'm quiet and I'm just observing, but like that I was quiet. So I didn't blow my top because I didn't want to ruin it for everyone else. And then, you know, then we stand around and we're looking at the tree, like look how pretty it is. And I'm like, it's not pretty. Like, I want to puke. So I'm quiet. Right. And, it came up later in conversation and I was ugly crying to my husband about how all of the things. I hated the entire thing. I felt like an outsider. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I was living someone else's life. I felt like I was in a shrine, you know, to his previous marriage, like all of the things. I can sit here now and tell you kindly what I was saying. That, just so you know, that is not how it came out. The Alicia that you see today is like Alicia 10.0. Alicia that you would have seen in 2013 was going for the juggler, like did not care, was going for the juggler. So I've learned a lot, like in the 10 years since our first Christmas of like how, or like first Christmas of us like living together, how to navigate things and what that should look like. I did not have as much tact. I was, like I said, I was going for the juggler. So my suggested idea or my workaround, compromise, if you will, was for us to have something that was ours. And as a stepmom, you know that you're sharing your partner 24/7 all of the time, whether the kids are with you or not. Like your partner has like one foot or like one ear out the door, like listening, like ready to go do whatever it is for the kids, right? Like they're never truly yours. And like you don't actually just get to have time with just them. And then if the kids are there, for sure you don't have time with just them. You know, there's all of the distractions of the kids, right? And what I realized was like that Christmas was just like heading home, like I didn't have my own thing. You know, my husband wasn't really mine. We never got the honeymoon stage. We didn't get to have it ever just be us. So that's desperately what I wanted. Selfish? Sure. Now I can tell you, yeah, that is selfish. Then like I felt like ashamed about it. I felt like this is ridiculous that I feel like I'm in competition with the kids. This is ridiculous that I feel like I'm in competition like with his previous relationship. But now looking back, I can extend a lot of grace and be like, yeah, I was struggling because I wanted something that was just ours, like something that was just ours as a couple, and it belonged to just us. Like at least I knew like we were together and it was just ours and we didn't have to share it with anyone, because I already share so much willingly and unwillingly, like against my will, with everyone else, that I wanted something that was just ours. So my compromise, my workaround was, what if we had a tree in the basement? Now listen, putting a Christmas tree in the basement was not like my first choice. But we already had this massive tree in the living room on our first floor, and the ceiling is a lot higher on the first floor than it is in the basement. We don't have, like, our ceiling isn't very tall in the basement. And so, again, like, here's the competition part of it. Like, this is so embarrassing to admit, but I'm like, okay, so great. I'm going to get my own tree, or our own tree. Awesome. But it's going to be in the basement. Like, great. So it's just shoved down, and it's not even going to be as big. So it's going to be smaller. Great. So here I am, all of the second place things or all of the third place things, and it's not going to mean enough, or I'm never going to see it. Like, all of these things, right? In my head, it's never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough. But at some point I was just like, listen, Alicia, you got to get a hold of yourself. You either are going to go through with having this Mr. and Mrs. tree, is what we ended up calling it, or you're going to say nothing and you're going to shut your mouth and you're going to deal with it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, I feel left out and I feel all of these things, and I want another tree, but I'm pissed that it's in the basement. Well, where the hell else are you going to put it? Right? Like, we could put it in your bedroom, which, like, I didn't want that because I would never sleep then. But so then we spent, like, in the wintertime, we do spend a lot of time, like, downstairs watching TV. So then when we're down there, that's our tree that I'm looking at. And I'm not sitting in our living room looking at this other tree that's, like, pissing me off, right? So what we did is we've traveled quite a bit. And what we did was, some people collect coffee mugs. We do that too. Coffee mugs or stamps or Christmas ornaments. That's our thing. From wherever they've been. Maybe it's a t-shirt or a hat or whatever. So what we started to do was collect coffee mugs and Christmas ornaments specifically for our tree downstairs. Now, the very first year that we are decorating this tree, there is nothing on it. Literally nothing on it. So when we were out getting this tree, I had said, hey, we are going to need some filler ornaments because we don't have anything that we're going to put on here because we did not get any Christmas ornaments from the places that we had been. Just us. We had gotten Christmas ornaments of places that we had been with the kids, which were upstairs on the family tree. And I say family, like, with quotes, because I didn't feel like I was part of the family at the time. And then over the years, now it's been 10 years since we've put up that tree, and there's so many ornaments that we've gotten from different places that we've been. And the Mr. and Mrs. tree is just something that my husband and I do. Even now with our daughter, so my stepkids are out of the house now. Even now with our daughter, she doesn't get to decorate that tree. That is not for her. That tree is just for us, and those ornaments are just for us to put on that tree. I'm like, listen, like, this is ours. This is not anyone else's. This is just you and I. Like, no kids are involved in decorating this tree. My kid or not. Like, no. But interestingly enough, last year, the tree that we got, like, one of the sections, like, doesn't light up anymore. And I was just like, oh, well, whatever. We'll just, like, put some lights in there. It's not a big deal. Now, like, several years ago when I was struggling as a new stepmom, if that, like, branch or the section of lights would have went out, I'd been like, of course it did. Like, this is my favorite season. All the things are going wrong. And this is just one more thing, right? Well, now I'm like, oh, it's, been X amount of years, and so we'll just get a new one. And we've kind of redone a few things at our house, and we're, like new, fresh mindset on a few things. And the Christmas tree is one of those things. So maybe you've seen, like, in my stories recently on Instagram that my daughter and I have been at Lowe's quite a bit. And we've got, like, this little dancing. We ended up buying this little dancing Rudolph. And while we were there, though, we were looking at Christmas trees. And what the tree that we ended up getting was, like, a frosted Christmas tree. I'm really excited about it. Like, my husband and I were like, oh, that kind of looks cool. Like, we've never had one like that. Like, let's try it. So we got a frosted Christmas tree. So that's going to be new this year. We'll have to get a new ornament. I don't know what we're going to put on there, something. But then also this year for the upstairs family tree, we're thinking of getting a real tree. And if you've got opinions on it, great. You do you, and you do, like, whatever it is that you're doing. We're thinking about it. We haven't done a real tree in a really long time because we used to go on vacation, like, a couple days after Christmas for a week. And so we, like, who's going to water the tree? Who's going to take care of it? All of the things, right? And So we just got a fake tree to put up there, or an artificial tree to put up there. And I'm excited to see like this year, like what that our tree is gonna look like. But it's nice to like not have that weirdness of what's gonna happen. Now listen, there was weirdness of, you know, like ornaments that were clearly the ex's ornaments. There was the weirdness of, okay, let me just really like get honest with you and like take you into my brain when we're decorating this tree. There were ornaments from like the kids' first Christmas. You know how people get like the little, you know, little Susie was born on X date, this amount of weight, this long, blah, blah, blah. This is like how ridiculous I am. I was like, absolutely not putting up that ornament. Absolutely not putting up hers. Absolutely not putting up his. Somebody else can do it. And anything that like the kids had made, like I just felt weird about those two, and like, oh, I'm definitely not doing that either. Does that make me sound like a crazy person? Like, do you think that I'm weird? Or like, would you do that too? Or have you done that before? Yeah, there was just like a lot of weirdness about it. So I would try to pick like the most like, I don't know, not basic ornament, because all of them are, you know, like I think Christmas ornaments for the most part are like pretty, but like I would try to pick the ones that I felt like didn't have some sort of like sentimental meaning. But really what I was doing, I was trying to like protect myself from the weirdness that I had. And I wasn't doing a really good job, like let's be honest. But I would intentionally avoid certain ornaments. And now, all of these years in, I still have like a little bit of like weirdness about it. Not so much that I'm like, I'm just going to avoid that ornament and I'm not going to do it. I will do it, but I'm like, ugh. Like, I feel like, is anyone watching me? No one is watching me. Of course, no one is watching me. But I feel like it. Like, I just feel not as weird as I used to feel, but a little bit. And then there's the whole, like, okay, so what does Christmas actually look like? What traditions do you guys have, right? Because I'm coming in, I've never been married, and I don't have any kids. So what do these people do? Like, listen to me. What do these people do? Like, I've never met them before. Like, what happens here? Like, do you hang stockings? Do you do Christmas like on Christmas Eve? Like, what kind of traditions does that look like? Like, there's all of these nuances that you're just like, what the hell do I do? Like, this is so awkward. Like, this is my life. But like, again, it's another thing that's being decided for me. And it's my favorite freaking time of the year. And everything is being decided for me. I hate this, right? So with my husband's family, there is like a tradition for like Thanksgiving. I mean, not Thanksgiving, but like Christmas Day and like what happened and all of the things. And that first year, man, let's be real. The first several years, I was not having it. I felt weird. I felt awkward. I felt like, give me another drink, like help me like get through this. I don't feel like that anymore because I feel like I've been like put into or like brought into the fold. But I've got to be honest with you. A lot of the emotions that I had, a lot of the stress that I had, a lot of the weirdness that I had was mostly because I was in my own head. Now, having said that, before you're like, no, like I feel those things too. I know that you feel those things too. I understand that you feel those things too. Like I was right there with you, sister. I would be like digging the trench with you. Like we're not coming out of this bunker at all. But because I obsessed about it, like literally obsessed about it, like you don't see that now. Like you would never, like if I would have started like blogging or doing reels or doing a podcast like in my early years as a stepmom, there would be like a lot of podcast episodes that I would like have to delete. Like I would, oh my gosh, it would not be good. You would really like know what I felt. And I think that, you know, like Brene Brown says it best, like speak from something as a scar as opposed to a wound, because a scar is not going to bleed like if you touch it or if you know, like run your fingers over it or whatever. But if it's a wound or if it's scabbed over and it's not completely healed, all of that is going to come out and come back. And I now can speak about things that I really struggled with in my early years as a stepmom without like that flood of emotions of like, I'm instantly pissed, or I'm instantly like, I feel like an outsider, or I feel second best, or I feel less than, or whatever it is that I feel. Not to say that I don't feel those emotions like when I'm talking about them, because I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get it. But they don't consume me anymore. Like I can look at them and be like, oh, that is when, like that part in my life, that's when I felt sad, or that's when I felt like an outsider, or that's when I felt like whatever because of whatever. But I don't say like I'm going to grab those and I'm going to wear that emotion right now. So I can talk about them easily, and I can like look back and kind of laugh at the silly is not the right word, the ridiculous ways that I acted, or the ridiculous things that I said, or yeah, just the ways that I sabotaged my own happiness. My husband used to say, like, happiness is an inside job. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, you, my friend, don't understand what I'm going through. You are making things worse for me. Where really, like, he was right. Like, I was focusing and looking at all of the wrong things. So yeah, the tradition, like, for Christmas Day, I really struggled with that before I really struggled with that like in my early years, because now not only is it like my husband, but then like his extended family is there too. And then here's the part about that. The kids now aren't there because Christmas Day they would go to their mom's house. We never got the kids on Christmas Day. Last year, last year my stepson was actually here, and my stepdaughter too, on Christmas Day. That has never happened before. And the entire time that we've been together, I don't ever remember having them on Christmas Day. Their mom always had them. And so part of me felt like sad for my husband. Like, these are your kids, but you don't even get them on Christmas Day. Now, granted, we've learned to, with our jobs, like we've learned to navigate and celebrate holidays not on that specific day, whether it's your birthday, whether it's your anniversary, whether it's Christmas. I mean, Halloween is Halloween, right? Like you have to do Halloween on Halloween. But like Thanksgiving, like all of the days that all of the holidays that you're going to celebrate. But it always felt like kind of a sense of sadness for him, because now like his kids aren't there, so he doesn't get that. And that was something, I didn't even realize I was going to talk about this, but that's something that I really struggled with too, because here I'm super pumped. Like, we've got our own Christmas. Okay, wait, before I get into that part, let's back up and talk about presents. So we would do Christmas Eve with the kids, and we would open gifts that way. And if you're petty and you get what I'm about to say, like, I love that for you, and I get it because I was like this too. When we would do Christmas Eve, we would be doing Christmas first. So the kids would be really excited about whatever it was that we got, or whatever trip that we were announcing that year, and they would be super pumped about it. If it worked for us to do Christmas before the other house, or sometimes we would do it after, and they would kind of be over it. But like, we had Christmas with us. So here's the Christmas situation for the kids. Us, sometimes my in-laws would be there, sometimes they wouldn't, sometimes we would do them separately, with their mom, with her in-laws, with like their extended family, like all of things. So sometimes, like, by the end of the Christmas season, like, the kids are just over it. So if you are trying to navigate like Christmas and like the season, if you can combine like your family, like your immediate family, like you and your partner and the kids, with like some sort of extended family, so it's just like one less place that they have to go to, that'd be great. So we did Christmas Eve, or like our own Christmas, but my husband and I would also do like a separate Christmas. Remember, we have that Mr. and Mrs. tree? Well, we would put gifts down there. The only gifts that would go at that basement tree were gifts specifically for my husband from me, or for him to me. And that's it. And sometimes I would put like fun names, or like I wouldn't put his name, like I would put whatever like nickname I wanted to put there. And same thing, he would do the same thing. And they would be gifts, like special gifts. Like sometimes I wouldn't even put things upstairs at the family tree, like to him from me. But it was, again, like just a way that we could celebrate Christmas, like just us, without that added pressure of like, okay, so-and-so is giving me a gift, what do I think about it? Or I'm giving so-and-so a gift, like what do they think about it? And sometimes the gifts were way more expensive than the amount of money that we'd spend on the kids, or sometimes they were just like simple practical things. It really varied year to year. I will say, so my husband and I dive, like scuba dive, and one year I got him a dive computer. So it's like a watch that you wear on your wrist, and I was really excited about it. I wanted one, but I was really excited about this. And he had gotten me the exact same dive computer. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like, I had no idea that, and he was like, what in the world? So that's kind of like a funny gift story. But yeah, so the Mr. and Mrs. Tree was just for us. So Christmas, let's go back to like tradition. So I said I was going to like ramble on this. So thanks for sticking with me. So traditions, like Christmas Day, it would be like extended family at our house and like a certain way that we did things. And there was a sense of sadness, yeah, for sure, for my husband, that like the kids weren't there. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, why are you so sad? Like, I'm here. Like, aren't you excited to hang out and spend time with just me? Where I'm like, finally, it's just the two of us. Like, woohoo! We can, hang out and do whatever we want, or we can stay up later, we can go to bed earlier, we can do whatever we want. And this is great. Where there was like this sense of sadness or like longing for the kids to be there and to not, miss a holiday with them. And so if you are experiencing that, or if your partner is experiencing that, I just want to say this to you. It's really tricky to navigate because two things can be true, very true at the same time. Your partner can be sad that the kids aren't there and they're missing out on a holiday with them. That's their truth. Your truth may be that you are elated. You are happy that the kids are gone. You are excited that the kids are gone, and now it just gets to be the two of you because it's kind of chaotic when you've got kids, right? Or you could be sad that they're not there too. Like that's fine. And if that's where you are, like if you're sad that the kids are not there, that's fine. So you guys are in the same boat and you guys are okay. But I'm speaking specifically to you if you're a stepmom and your partner is struggling with not having the kids and you are not struggling with not having the kids. That is a tricky thing to navigate, because then you're like, well, what? It goes back to like that. Well, what the hell am I? Chopped liver? Like, I'm here. Like, don't you want to spend time with me? I did the exact same thing. And I just want to tell you that the two truths can exist at the exact same time. Having said that, you are not a replacement for the kids. And your partner is struggling with not having them. Maybe it's their favorite holiday. Maybe, like, honestly, they never wanted to get divorced. They never wanted to like split their kids up. Like they didn't want to do this. Not to say that they want to like get back with their ex. But my advice to you is to say to your partner, I can see that you are feeling sad. I can see that you're struggling. I can see that, you're not super excited, or however you want to phrase it to them. How can I support you? What does that look like? Ask very specific questions. Maybe it's you guys snuggle on the couch for a little bit and watch a movie. Maybe it's you go out to dinner, or maybe you go for a walk, or maybe just let them talk about it. And if they want to talk about it, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because you've got strong feelings of like, I don't want the kids to be here. We're not doing that right now. We are just going to sit and we're going to listen to whatever it is that our partner has to say. And we're going to say, I see you. I feel you. I understand your sadness. I understand your insert emotion, right? That validation is really what they're looking for. They want you to be like on the same team. Or you could have something already planned, or better yet, before you even get to this situation, you could say, hey, when the kids are gone, like pre-plan before the kids leave. So while they're going to be gone, you're already planning this. Hey, when the kids leave, let's plan on playing board games. Let's plan on watching a movie. So you already know what's going to be happening. So you're not stuck with this like, well, damn, the kids are gone. The house was really quiet. Now what do we do? Like, I know that they're feeling sad. So what do I do now? And you're like scrambling for different things. But I always, and again, if you're a stepmom, you get this, always try to like have everything thought out. It is exhausting. The mental gymnastics is exhausting, but like running all of the scenarios is so exhausting, right? Like what about this, then that, if this, then that, right? Kind of thing. But try to have some sort of plan already in place for when the kids aren't going to be there. Because you know it's coming. You know that at some point the kids aren't going to be there. So rather than just sitting with that and like the anxiety of it and the what do I do? What am I going to do? What's going to happen? Like, what are we going to do? Are they going to be weird? Like, of course they're going to be weird. So like, let's plan now to like get around that or to circumvent that or to try to make it like not as weird. So that's what we would do. We would like watch a movie or we would, make dinner together. We'd have like a dress up dinner date and anything to just kind of take his mind off of the kids not being there. That's not to say that he's not still struggling or he's still not thinking about them, because I know that he is. I can see it. Like, I know my husband well enough to know that I can tell when he is like a little distracted by something. To just be mindful of that, like extend your partner extra grace when the kids aren't there, and know that it's not going to be this way forever. Kind of like for me, like now at this point, I don't like having that Mr. and Mrs. tree. Like I like that. Like I like that sentiment. I like that it's ours, but I don't cling to it every year like I was. Like I would climb up in the tree and just stay there because I needed that. I needed something that was mine. So yeah, just know that if you're struggling right now in your early years as a stepmom and you're having a hard time with the holidays, I get it. I see you. I understand. My DMs are always open. If you're looking for additional support, now, let me just say this to you now would be a really good time to sign up for the Stepmom Side community. In there, I'm happy to chat with you about all things holiday stuff, what that looks like, how hard it is to navigate. I have office hours every week, and you can come in real time and be like, hey, Alicia, you know what? I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. I don't want you to struggle by yourself. I don't want you to struggle and have a hard time this holiday season. Like, I want you to have the support. I want you to feel ready to walk into this holiday season, or more, I should say more ready, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? And have a plan in place to get yourself through it. And it's not just another holiday season that you've struggled through or that you've like done the best that you could, but are still frustrated and feel sad and upset by it. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like a little bit vulnerable, like sharing all of this, because in some of the ways, like I sounded a little bit petty, and other ways I'm like, but this is like, these are things that I felt. But yeah, send me a message on Instagram. Let me know, like, do you relate to any of this? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's just, holidays are such a tricky season, tricky season, like as a stepmom to like navigate. And there's all these emotions and it's weird and everything. So before I actually close this episode, head to aliciacrasco.com/holiday to get those 4 tips to navigate the holiday season. And if you need extra support and you want to connect with other stepmoms and get a lot of FaceTime with me, head to aliciacrasco.com/community so you can join the Stepmom Side community and get all the support that you need for this. I'll chat with you next week. Thanks for taking time to listen to this week's episode. If anything was helpful or resonated with you, please share it on social media and tag me. I'm just at Alicia Crasco. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and review while you're at it, that would also be really helpful. And if you find yourself struggling with your stepmom journey and you want a little bit more support without the hefty price tag of coaching, you might want to check out the Stepmom Side community, which is my own private community for stepmoms, where you get to connect with other stepmoms around the world and myself, where I hold weekly office hours and monthly group coaching. It's kind of like you have your own personal coach in your own back pocket. Again, without that hefty price tag. See you next week.